Hey, what's up guys? People of YouTube, how's everybody doing? A couple months ago, I made a video about how to choose a classical guitar. Just some points and some tips and tricks and stuff that I use when I'm buying a used gear, a used classical guitar. I've wanted to do this video for a very long time about how to pack a classical guitar or really any sort of acoustic instrument for shipment. I gotta tell you, it's the #1 pet peeve of mine when I buy an instrument from a company or a third party or a website or someone, even if they're really reputable, even if they're really good at what they do, and you get the guitar and it's broken. It's the worst thing when you get the instrument and you open up the box and all that's in the box is the guitar and the guitar case just in there like that. You know, you could tell that they didn't have any sort of process or any kind of thought into keeping the instrument from getting destroyed or damaged. And let me tell you guys something. Dealing with UPS or FedEx or the Postal Service or anybody, they're saying that they did nothing wrong. It must have been how it was packed. It's a fucking nightmare. I'm going to show you guys really what you should do when you're packing a guitar, especially a classical guitar. It has, you know, a hollow body, has a lot of tension, it has stress points, it has fracture points, and the material itself is very thin, and it's subject to break when any kind of force is applied to it. First thing you want to do, detune the damn strings. Now, there's two things about this, alright? It is true that detuning the strings on a guitar is not good for the guitar, right? Period. These are designed to maintain a tension, okay? A string pulling from one end to the other end. They're designed to maintain that 300 pounds per square inch across the entire structure of the guitar. But leaving the guitar tuned, when it's going to be traveling, it's going to be moving around, it's going to be going into different temperatures, different climates, it's going to be subject to force. It's not good to have tension pulling the guitar, okay? It's a bad idea. Any kind of force, you run the risk of the bridge popping off, cracks forming along the ears of the bridge, or where the wood is joined. It's because there's pressure. There is stress on the instrument, and introducing any stress or force additional to the instrument will break it. So we're gonna take a look at how you want to prepare the case, prepare the instrument. We already talked about detuning it and preparing the box, okay? Trust me, if you're selling guitars online, if you're an eBay or if you do Craigslist, whatever, you're gonna wanna follow these kind of steps, all right? So to show you kind of what I mean by, you know, it will have force applied to it. This is an old box, okay? I bought a guitar a couple of years ago. This is the box that it came in. And you see right in the front, some asshole, I don't know if they let something sit on it or if they were just moving the truck in and it fell forward and something just, you know, leaned into it. But look at that. That's a pretty big dent into the box, all right? And yes, when I opened up the instrument, there was damage. And fuck me trying to deal with UPS. So I have this very beautiful classical guitar, and it's in a really nice, solid, you know, case. It's not carbon fiber. It's just, you know, it's just a regular foam hard case. And I have this up on a stool set here just so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. Now, when I was talking about force and movement earlier, really the spaces here in between where the guitar is and the case is, that open space is, that little bit of space is enough to where if it gets dropped, if it gets suddenly moved, or if something, you know, slams into it like that box I just showed you, any kind of, see, that's movement. Look at this. So it's all the way at the top. That's movement, right? And it's the same, you know, just that much. Listen to that. That much movement, if it's enough force behind that movement, will break the instrument. So pay attention to that when you're packing a guitar. You want to avoid movement in the case. It's kind of like a football player wearing a helmet on their head. It doesn't help their brain, okay? If they plow into somebody going 15 miles an hour head first, you know, the helmet protects their skull and their face. It doesn't protect the brain, okay? So closing the guitar case and just putting it into a box doesn't do anything for you because the guitar inside the case is rattling around and the case inside the box is rattling around and the box is, it's all shit, okay? So don't do that. So what I do to try to avoid these problems of the guitar moving in the case, I take some bubble wrap. It's really cheap shit. You can get it for $7 at Walmart. All right, it'll save you hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars if you just follow this kind of a step, right? So I put bubble wrap here in the guitar case, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to close in the space around the guitar so that, you know, you can minimize any kind of movement in the guitar case. So you see that that's in there pretty snug. It's not moving a whole lot. We also want to put it around the sides. So I take the guitar back out. I kind of do a little fit check. Little fit, little test here and there. See how that fits, see how that goes. You don't want it too tight. You don't want it too tight because when you close the guitar case, you want it to not crunch the guitar. But you want it to kind of just be nice and snug in there, fitting into the case. You see, now that's, yeah, there we go. That's nice. So let's do the move test. Let's see if it moves. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it moves the case. It's not moving in there. Now the bubble wrap at Walmart, they come in like little square tiles like this. So you just kind of fold it, and I kind of just stuff it wherever I can to make sure that the guitar does not move. The case itself will protect from any kind of, you know, shock, you know, as long as it's not like, you know, really, really bad. Don't do anything stupid here and crunch, okay? You can see how that's a little over padded for the guitar, so take a layer out. Doesn't need that much, the case is pretty solid. Alright? Remember, if you have to force something, then you're doing something wrong, alright? If it doesn't fit nice and tight and snug the first time, you got to take a little bit out, see if maybe you put too much in. You know, make sure that this doesn't crack. Easy. Oh, I see why. See, it's stuck in here, that's why. So we want to take a little bit out. Okay. Cool. Cool. Now I'm fairly certain that that's not going to break. So the guitar is in there pretty nice and tight. Next, I wrap the actual guitar shell in bubble wrap. Keeps it from taking too much force or shock when any kind of force is applied to that box. I gotta tell you, nothing pisses me off more than when you get an instrument, and even if the person who shipped it incorrectly is cool, or the company is like, hey, we have a money-back guarantee. The issue is, it's like, I don't care about the money. Well, I care about the money. I want the money back if we're not going to be able to fix this. But when you buy a vintage guitar like this, they're not making any more of these, right? So it's not that the money is important. It was the instrument that was important. Why couldn't you get it right the first time? Because now this thing is destroyed, or whatever you bought is destroyed. Yes, of course I want my money back, but the point is that I valued the instrument, that I spent time and, you know, research and all of this stuff, questions, answering, sending messages. I spent all that time finding this damn thing, and now it's broken, right? And yes, I want my money back, thank you, but I valued the instrument more than the money I paid for it, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have bought the fucking thing, right? This is what folks need to kind of understand when they do this. And, you know, make sure it's tight. Like I said, we don't want any movement. Some cross sections. Really make sure that it's protected. Because I don't care what UPS or what anybody who delivers mail says, they're gonna fuck with the box. And they see a guitar box, they're like, ooh, there's a guitar in there, let's drop it. Okay, so that's pretty solid. I could throw this down my stairs and I would bet money that it wouldn't break. I'm not gonna do that. I didn't buy a Taylor guitar, I don't know why the fuck that came out of Taylor. In the box, you wanna make sure that there's a plastic base. You see that plastic thing right there? If you can't find a plastic base for your guitar, the next best thing you can do is get a bunch of cardboard or some styrofoam and just put it at the bottom of the guitar, because if the company, UPS, FedEx, whoever follows, you know, the instructions and says, okay, this is fragile. I have to stand it upright, right? What they sometimes will do is they'll be handling this and they'll do this. Oh, good Jesus. You know, that's like, oh my God, I hope someone packed that really well, because if they didn't, they're fucked. Ass first. Ooh, perfect. Now again, this is a guitar box. This is designed to do it this way. I have a little plastic base at the bottom here so it can fit the ass of the guitar, right? So that's pretty solid. But look at this. That's a lot of movement. You see now why I had to make the inside of the guitar case movement proof, because people will shake that shit like it's a birdcage. When you go to a FedEx store, which is what I like to go to, they have a lot of this type of, you know, filler paper. Have them put a shit ton of it in the guitar case with the guitar. Get some of that bubble wrap and just stuff it in there, man. Keep it so that anything they hit that front of that box, it'll get absorbed by the bubble wrap. So bubble wrap is your friend. And don't just throw shit in there. I mean, really pay attention to what you're doing and where you're stuffing it. Oh man, it's been a long weekend. Now we do another shake test. It's still kind of moving, so we gotta get some more stuff. When in doubt, get more bubble wrap. More is more, not less. You see why I made a big deal about getting the bottom of the guitar wrapped up pretty well? Yeah, done this a couple times. That's a little bit better. So, my buddy who just bought this guitar from me, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting this thing out. It's like unwrapping a fucking Christmas present. Alright, so there we go. Now, if some poor guy from FedEx, which I'm going to be going with because I trust FedEx more than anybody else, decides to... Yeah, ain't nothing happening to that guitar. Tape it up. You want it to get, you know, for a box that's been taped and used before, you want it to be kind of really snug. So one thing I didn't quite talk about is weight. It is true that when you're shipping something, they charge you according to how much the thing weighs. So adding all this extra material, the bubble wrap, the cardboard, the plastic, all that shit, it adds to the weight. It's about 25 pounds, you know, give or take maybe 25, 28 pounds. Adding a little bit more weight or trying to go cheap on the shipping cost because you're afraid it's going to weigh it down to have an instrument break, it's just not worth it. I don't care who says what about shipping insurance. Yeah, try to tell the shipper that they broke an instrument. Yeah, have a fun time doing that shit. They'll deny it till they die like they just got caught cheating. And again, don't cheap out on me, Datsun, alright? Make sure this fucker's nice and tight. And that is how you pack a classical guitar. Thank you guys for watching. Again, this is kind of my brief how I do stuff when I buy and sell classical guitars. Yeah, when you're selling stuff to people, make sure you pack it well. When they open the box, even if the box looks like hell, when they get the guitar is fine. Just make sure you take care. You know, treat other people how you would like to be treated. That's my motto in life. I don't like to get fucked with. I don't like to get ripped off. I don't like to get stuff that I paid for that's broken, alright? And this isn't 100% guaranteed that if they drop a 1,000-pound pallet on top of the guitar after it clearly says to stand upright, fragile, this is a guitar, and some asshole decides, you know what, it's gonna ruin somebody's day, and they drop a pallet on it or something like that, there's not much you're gonna be able to do about that. I mean, a pallet will crush anything unless it's made out of steel, alright? Honestly, when things like that happen, the shipping companies, they're like, okay, we completely screwed up. There's very little that an agent or an insurance person can say to refute that they fucked that up. If you guys found this useful, informative, don't just put a guitar in a case and think because it's in a case it's protected, alright? There's movement in a case, and if you ship it, it is just like, it's a crapshoot whether or not it's going to arrive in one piece. I've gotten 3 guitars I've bought in the last couple of years where it was in a beautiful case, it was a beautiful rare vintage guitar, cracked right here, cracked right there, and para la madre, who knows wherever else it was messed up. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting a like, leaving comments, subscribe. Let me know if there's something that you do that I missed. You know, I just try to minimize movement in any kind of classical guitar that I'm shipping, alright? Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys at the next one. Later.